Hi guys, and welcome back to the Honey Herd. If you're new here, my name's Paul and this is my first year as a beekeeper, starting from scratch as a complete beginner. Here on the Honey Herd channel, I plan to document the whole journey from complete novice to hopefully keeping a few happy, healthy hives here on Anglesey, North Wales. Now before we get started, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone who watched the last video. Your hints, tips and comments really helped and it means a lot. And that's something I really enjoyed seeing as well, was so many people starting their first journey into the world of beekeeping. So in the last video, it was my first ever hive inspection. We looked through Hive 1 and Hive 2. So in Hive 1 we found a queen. She wasn't marked, so I had a little go at marking her myself. It wasn't exactly textbook, but we got it done. So I'll be looking back to see how she's getting on today. In Hive 2 we found a queen as well. She had been professionally marked and it was a much better job than I did. Hive 2 were expanding really rapidly, so I added an extra brood box just to give them a bit more space. So today we're going to be looking at 4 main points. So 1, is the queen active? Is she laying and doing her thing? 2, how is the brood looking? Is there brood in all stages and does it look healthy? 3, is there enough space in the hives for the bees to expand into? And 4, given the time of year, we'll be paying special attention to swarm cells. Are there any? And what shall we do if we find them? Now I've been rambling on long enough, so let's get the bee suit on, let's get the smoker lit, and let's go and check out these hives. Okay, so we're here at Hive 1. Last week was actually 8 days ago, because it's a Wednesday today and we were here last Tuesday. Last week we found the queen in here. She was unmarked. And me, in my mighty wisdom, decided to mark the queen. I've watched a few YouTube videos, but I have never actually done it myself before. This is a lot of firsts for me. It's my first year as a beekeeper, and last week was my first ever hive inspection, as well as my first ever time marking a queen. I'm going to be using, or trying to use, a lot less smoke on this inspection. I'm hoping the bees have the same temperament as they did 8 days ago, and I'm going to need to use minimum smoke. With that said, I'm still going to give them a little bit of puff of smoke at the entrance and underneath the crown board, just to let them know I'm here. That was 3 small half puffs, like so, in the entrance. Please let me know if you feel that was too much, or it was okay, or I should use more. Next, I'm going to just crack the crown board. A little bit of propolis down there. 1, 2, 3. Back down with the crown board. They're not full puffs, they're just little, not even half puffs. And I can see the bees moving down a little bit already. Now let's lift off the crown board and let's see what's going on in here. Just checking for the queen. I'm not seeing her, so I'm going to put this by the entrance. So if there's any bees that want to just go back in, they can do so. You watch me trip over that in about 5 minutes. Now let's have a look into these bees here. What have we got? We've got 1. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 frames of bees maybe. Let's have a closer look, but from the first look, it looks like this is a really full box of bees. Now, I'm going to take out frame 2, which I'm hoping they've started to draw out. Very, very, very gently. Say it's about 14 or 15 degrees. Now, oh, they're starting to draw this out nicely. I would say they're about 25% drawing that out on one side and pretty much nothing on the other. I'm going to move this. I'm going to put the bees just here. I might need this shortly. Frame number 3. Well, let's just have a quick look at frame 1. Because we checkerboarded these outside frames last week just to get them drawing out, and it seems to have worked. This one is absolutely glistening with stores, 50% full of stores and a little bit of pollen. Now I am feeding the bees just to encourage them to be drawing out these frames. This one can go. So I'm looking for the queen with each frame. This was a checkerboarded frame, so this was just foundation last week. And look at that, that is 80% on that side. I'm looking for our queen. She should be quite easy to see as she's got half a body full of paint. And here I can see a queen cup or a play cup. Now I'm not going to take any cups down straight away. I did last week, and my mentor mentioned that maybe you shouldn't be so quick to take down these cups because they may be supersedure cells. Wow, this is so heavy. They could be supersedure cells, and if the bees want to supersede, it might be a good idea to let them get on with it, because if the queen is not pulling her weight, the bees are the ones who are going to know. Now what have you got in here? Very young larvae in the middle, and then cat brood on the outside, and then cat stores on the very, very outside. Now this is a very heavy frame. I'm just going to turn it over and have another quick look for the queen. She's not there, but look at this. So we must have emerging brood in the outer. In the center we have larvae, very young larvae. Can't see eggs, but there's very, very young larvae in there, right in the center. So as the bees are emerging from this frame, the queen is laying it back up. What a lovely frame. We've got lots of stores on the outside, brood, and brood in all stages here. That's a very nice thing to see, and it's a very heavy frame. No queen. Let's have a look at the next one. I've stuck these frames a bit together with stores. I'll give them a little knock there, which wasn't ideal. And there's lots of larvae in the middle of this one. Oh, and there's our queen. And I don't know how well you can see her. And I'll try and get us a little slightly better look. And you can see there, I've marked the back of her head. I've marked her thorax, but I've also got it on her head. And unfortunately, I think that is a little bit on her eyes. I can't really tell, but I'll be looking in the video later so we can see what's going on. But there's the queen. And we've got young larvae in the middle. And then as we go out, we've got cat brood and pollen and a little bit of stores. And so far the temperament on these bees is very good. Let's see if we can find that queen again before we put her back in. There she is. So we've marked her really badly. However, she still seems to be doing her job. So far, so good. Now I'm going to be very careful with this frame because I know the queen is on the frame next to it. And wow, very heavy frame. Loads of larvae in here. So brood in all stages. I can't see eggs, but I'm seeing very, very young larvae. I think that's due to my eyesight rather than there not being any eggs. Because as soon as they're emerging, I can see larvae right in the center here. Larvae all in the center. So we have cap brood. We have brood in all stages here. We have cells on the bottom, which I didn't check the frame with the queen on, because I didn't want to, but I think this is the start of some swarm cells on the bottom maybe. I can't see anything in them, but and then a lot of drone brood here, some queen cups here and here. My thumb on a bee there. She let me know she wasn't very happy about that. However, not a sting. I'm going to get this back in. These are really full frames here in the center. And I can hear like a humming, but it's not a buzzing. It's like a higher pitch. I'm not sure what it is. So here we go. We've got frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, frame 6 now. Very gently. Again, very heavy frame. Again, very much the same. Capped brood. Some stores. I would say young larvae in there. Lots of pollen. Loads of pollen on this one. Lots of yellow, orange pollen. Some drone brood. Some uncapped drone brood there. Some stores on the outside. Again, it's an absolutely beautiful day. There's stacks of pollen in here. Stacks of pollen. And I can see in them, they've got brood, empty cells there with very young brood in. The bees sticking their heads in to feed the larvae in there. loads of pollen coming in, absolutely loads of pollen. And here now we're getting to frame 7. This was a checkerboarded frame, so this was just foundation last week, I think, if I'm remembering rightly. And this is 90% drawn out. With honey or open stores. Not seeing any eggs in here or larvae. Just seems to be a lot of pollen, and they're just drawing that out. That is, I would say, 90% drawn out on that side, and a good 80% drawn out on this side. We're looking at just brooding, just stores in here, pollen, and open stores. Now, for some reason, my frames keep moving. I think it might actually be the underfloor entrance that I put in. I think they're just touching it and it's just making them move. I'll have to look at that somehow. It's just making the frames move because I think they're just balancing on it. See that then? I'm not sure if you've seen that move on its own. But again, that's something I probably should look at. Okay, frame 8. Another just frame of foundation last week. Oh, and it's really stuck to frame 9, sorry, this is. Oh, I'll try and get these both out together. Wow, uh-oh. I think we need a new frame in here. Look at this mess. Absolute mess. Not quite sure what I'm going to do here. I think taking this down with my Hive tool will be a wise decision here, because otherwise it's just going to be a complete mess. Don't know how much you can see here. I'm just going to get rid of this. Put it up on here. And then this is the frame 10, the outside frame. Pretty much all built out. And 100% built out on this side. This side is empty. Get that back in. What we're going to do with this mess. It's an absolute mess here. What do you suggest I do here, guys? Maybe just rip this out, or shake it off and put a fresh frame in? Or are they just going to keep building this out badly, or badly for me? Probably not bad for the bees, but if I'm lifting the frames out, it's going to be a good chance that I'm going to cause them a problem. So what I think I might do a little bit later, is, as I don't have one to hand, is swap this frame out for a fresh frame, and I think I'll also move it to the outside where I think it's going to probably cause slightly less of a problem. It's already touching the wall, so they're definitely going to stick that to the wall. I think what I'm going to do is get a new frame for that before the day is over. It's just already causing problems, I can feel it. So my plan is here, I'm basically going to put this second brood box straight on top, but before I do so I'm going to swap one frame of wax foundation for one frame of brood, and I'm hoping that's going to draw the bees up into the second box and I'll start drawing that out. So I'm going to start again. In fact, I'm not going to use any smoke, and I'm going to remove the crown board, checking for the queen, and I don't see her on there, so this can go just in front here. Then, like I said, I'm going to remove one frame of brood from here, and I'm going to place it right in the middle of our second brood box. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to take out this frame here, just to, I'm really not doing very well with my space here. There we go, let's just stick it right in front of here. Excuse me bee, I don't want to crush you. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to move these over, and I want a frame. I don't really want the queen on it, however I do want a frame with brood in it. This one is just appears to be stores. Come on guys, out of the way. And this one has lots of young larvae in it. Oh, and there's the first bee bouncing my veil. Look, the size of that drone in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's some big drones in there. So this one has capped brood, basically brood in all stages, and as far as I can see, no queen. So I'm going to put this in this box here. Then I'm going to take one frame of wax foundation, and I'm going to place that right into the middle of the brood box here. And then I'm going to put back this frame. And it's looking like this. Loads of bees in here. And then I'm not going to dilly-dally too much. I'm going to move this box on top of this one. And there we have it. The second brood box is added. Now please let me know in the comments if you think I'm doing this too early. The nights are getting down to single digits here in Anglesey, North Wales. However, I feel there's a lot of bees in here. Would you have underbrooded? I feel like I probably should have put the brood box underneath. However, I have read somewhere that the queen does not like going down. She much prefers working up. So for that reason, I've put the brood box on top. I've put the brood box on top, and I've put this single frame here, which is quite central in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 5th frame in, 6th frame from the other side. So it's right in the center of the brood nest. The brood nest below is right in the center of the brood nest below. So they should, you know, get the heat that's raising from the brood below. I'm going to continue to feed. We still need our eek, as I'm going to continue to feed these bees to give them a little bit of a boost in building out these new frames. And I'm going to put on the lid. And that is the hive inspection complete for this video. Okay guys, so that's hive 1 done. I just had a little break, a little cup of tea. I'm going to dive into hive 2. Absolutely rammed full of bees. Every frame has bees on it. Now let's see how these bees react when I take out this first frame. So this is the second frame in, frame 2. And this was just a frame that I put in as foundation. And that is completely drawn out. 100% drawn out now. It's dripping with... It's absolutely dripping when I turn it over. I'm trying to be gentle, not to shake too much of it out. Pollen in there. Lots of pollen and some uncapped stores. I really do need to work out the best way of working around this setup. So there we go, that looks pretty secure there. Okay, so let's go to the outside frame, which was one of the original frames. Which was one of the original frames that came with the nucleus colony, and it is very full of stores, uncapped for the most part. Yeah, fully uncapped stores, glistening in the sun there. Hope you're picking that up. Otherwise, looks very good. Fully drawn out. Oh, tiny little bit in the corner, which I'm not even going to worry about. Not drawn out. Little 1% maybe. Otherwise, very heavy frame. They've been sticking it to the outside wall here. So I'm just going to scrape that off. And then I'm going to put this frame back in. So we're looking for the queen this time. Well, so we're looking for the queen. angle this camera down a bit better, I think. We're looking for the queen. We're looking for and drawing out the fresh combs, the fresh foundation that I put in, and they have been busy bees. This comb, this foundation is a good 80% drawn out on this side, and almost it's fully drawn out, but it's just not got the depth. So they've started on it all. Let's sort this camera out a bit. They've started on it all. So let's get these. So there's still get my hive tool in here. Just a little nudge open. Excuse me, bees. So this is frame 4. I don't want to use too much smoke, but I just can't even get my fingers on the frame. So I'm just going to, just where I need to hold. Because otherwise I'm going to be squishing bees with my fingers, and I don't think that's a good idea. Suppose I just move them out of the way with my finger. So this is frame 4. Getting close to the center of the hive now. A lot of waggle dances going on in here. Cat brood. It looks like they're backfilling this with nectar or stores, which is not good, I don't think. I don't want them filling the brood nest with nectar and stores. However, a lot of pollen in here. On this side of the frame, we're seeing a lot of pollen. It's almost every cell. There's a few cells of brood in the middle, but they're just packing this full of pollen. Let's see if I can get a shot for the camera. I have been told off a little bit in the comments for spending too much time getting camera shots for YouTube, and of course they're right. The bees have to come first. But my mentor has also told me, take your time and get to know what you're looking at. Different stages of brood, and what's going on in the hive. And this is absolutely packed full of pollen. Now I know they're going to want the pollen close to the brood. This side is packed full of pollen as well. So what I'm a little bit concerned of is that the queen is going to run out of places to lay because it's got pollen and stores. Now I know the bees will want pollen close to the brood, and this is frame 4. So frame 5 next. This is the center of the brood box, and the bees are absolutely everywhere. This is a very full hive now. Just very gently pulling up this frame. And what are we seeing on here? Lots and lots and lots and lots of cat brood. Any spaces though have been filled with stores and nectar. And there's some big drones in here. No sign of the queen yet. There's a queen cup at the bottom there. This is absolutely full of cat brood. And again, when this comes up, it's cat brood, and any spaces where the broods are merged, they've backfilled with pollen. Any spaces where broods emerged. They've backfilled with pollen, and they've backfilled with stores. So I really think these bees are almost honey bound, because they are filling the brood nest with stores. Wow, look how many bees are on here. They're filling the brood nest with stores and pollen. Now I'm not sure, but it's right in the centre of the frames. If it was around the outside of the frame, frames, I wouldn't be quite so concerned, because that's just close to the brood. However, what I'm seeing is it's getting stored right in the centre. Again, this one backfilled with pollen. Any space they've got, they're just filling it with pollen and stores. Any space they've got at all is just full of pollen and full of stores. So I think what would be a good idea, I'm not seeing brood in here. It's just capped. Well, I'm seeing cap brood. I'm not seeing any young larvae in here. So what I'm a little bit concerned about is that the bees are not leaving any space for the queen to lay, and that is sure way of a dwindling colony or a swarm. Because this time of year now, I believe we really want to be building up these bees. Wow, it's so full in here. It's packed full of bees. I'm just smoking just so I can get my fingers on the frames. I just feel like it's the nicest way of getting the bees off where I need to hold. And here again, cap brood, stores on the edges. Frames dripping with stores, nectar, probably quite a bit of syrup. I'm not seeing the queen, and I'm not seeing any larvae in here. It is literally just pollen. There's cap brood, but then it's pollen and stores. Not seeing any young larvae. In the last hive, hive 1, I was seeing a lot of larvae. Just instead of smoking the bees off here, I'm just going to try and shimmy them away without peeing them off too much. It's not really working. Every time I shimmy some out the way, just more come into place. So I'm just going to use a little bit just where I need to put my fingers, just to clear them away. Please let me know in the comments what you think about that method. I'm not smoking the whole hive out, just a few little puffs. And I'd really like to see this queen now. There's a little queen cup here. Oh, there's loads of larvae in here. That's great to see. This is full of larvae in here. And I think this is where I was seeing the eggs last week, this frame. So this is frame 7. And it's a frame that we checkerboarded to encourage them to draw it out. And they've certainly done that. And it is full, absolutely full of larvae in here. The queen has been very busy on this frame. And every cell that I'm looking into has very young larvae in. Maybe eggs too, but I'm not picking them up. I did get a good suggestion about a cheap pair of glasses, even though technically I don't need glasses. Wow, the pearly white. Oh, I didn't like that purr. All that pearly white. Pearly white larvae in there. I'm going to get it back in. So that's frame 7. And it is rammed full of larvae. Again, just smoking the lugs. That's it. I'm not smoking the whole along across the frames. I know they've got a really good temperament, these bees. And I'm really conscious now of not over smoking them, because they're not aggressive in the slightest so far. Okay. Again, a very heavy frame here. We're looking at cat brood with lots of wet stores around the outside here. I'm going to try and get shots best I can with the camera. I'm not going to dwell on it too much. So we've got lots of cat brood here, but again, it looks like it's being backfilled with nectar. And this is cat brood in the center, and then lots and lots and lots of nectar all around the outside. And then our final frame in the top box was wax foundation last week. And this week they've drawn it out 50%, 60%. On one side, and they're just getting started on the next side. Okay, well, let's get this back in. And I think what I'm going to do to encourage the bees to move that stores, I'm going to move the brood box that I bought last week into underneath. And I'm going to see if we can't get it back on top. Anyway, so back at the hive now, looking through the hive, we didn't find the queen yet, and the main brood box seemed a little bit honey bound. So as the brood was emerging, the bees were just filling it full of nectar and pollen. So we haven't had a look in the second brood box, the brood box closest to the entrance. That's the one we added last week, and it was just plastic frames rolled with beeswax. So I'm going to have a little look into that now, see if the queen's down there, and then I'm thinking we'll move that brood box up top, so hopefully encourage the bees to move all or most of the open uncapped stores up into the other brood box above, freeing up some space for the queen to lay, because I really think this hive at the moment looks honey bound. Next, I want to move the brood box from underneath on top, so I encourage the bees to hopefully move the stores up into that brood box, freeing up a bit of space for the queen to lay. Look at all that. Look at all them bees. It's absolutely rammed in there. I believe it's about the 7th of April. I have mentioned it in the video already. And the bees are... Sorry, I got distracted by... I think I need to do something about covering that feeder up, so I'm going to have bees all in there. So I haven't used any smoke since I've reopened the hive. Just going to make sure my smoke is lit. And then I'm going to remove this brood box. I'm going to put it on my roof here. Then I'm going to take the other brood box, I'm going to put it on top, and then hopefully move them both back onto the hive stand. Simple as that. Let's see how this goes. So here's a handle here and a handle here. Do I need to use the hive tool? No. I am concerned moving this box because I haven't seen the queen and I do not want her to drop out. I think I heard a few crunches there, that's not nice. And then I'm just going to move this box up, which is stuck onto the frame, the base. Helps if I take the clips off. And we'll try again. I'll move this and put it straight onto the other box, and then without too much delay, wow, that's heavy. And the bees are not happy now. To be quite honest, can't really blame them. I really need to sort out my working space here. I think probably being better to move the boxes individually. Oh no, look at this. So let me lift this up. I'm really looking for the queen on here. I'm not seeing her. And here's where pandemonium. 1, 2, 3. In fact, think about, what have I done here? Look, I have really stirred things up here. Nonetheless, we will continue. I think now might be a good time for smoke. And what's going on here? So they don't seem to want to draw this out. And I think what I'm going to do here is I am going to put this back together. Yeah, I'm seeing absolutely nothing as far as drawing out this comb. Nothing at all. Oh wow, look at this. No wonder they're going mental. It's not even in the right spot, is it? Oh, I've made a big pig's ear of this one today, guys. No wonder they're angry. There we go. That's on now. No wonder they're annoyed. Hi guys, thanks again for joining me. So that concludes our second ever inspection of the honey-herd apiary. I managed to get through both hives. Didn't go perfectly, but I'm sure I'll learn a few lessons from today. If you've got tips, questions, or just want to share how your hives are getting on this spring, leave a comment below. Every bit of advice is helping me learn and improve. If you're enjoying the journey so far, give this video a like, hit subscribe, and come along for the next one. See you next time.